listening, but me, John Sansoni, and Billy Jones helped produce and call this past weekend's Mizzou baseball series against Purdue Fort Wayne. Split the series 2-2, so not terrible for the Tigers overall, but not too great either. But that's the past, and today it's a new list, and we're going to stick with a sports scenario this time around. We're going to do the top 10 Big Four leagues mascots. So what do we mean by that? Everyone on our actual list, every mascot on our actual list is going to be associated with a team in the Big Four leagues: the NHL, the MLB, the NBA, and the NFL. And we kind of had our own different criteria. What did you go with?
So the way I kind of did mine is, first off, just personal preference. And I think we both kind of did that. Just had a personal preference of what we liked. And then I went with how cool does the look match the team brand and the vibe, and then the name as well. Because if it doesn't make sense, or if it's something completely off, like we'll take Louis for the Blues as an example. Great name, makes sense, but it's a bear.
It makes no sense as a mascot in St. Louis.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
None.
So I didn't, that's definitely not on my list.
Okay, to be fair though, there really, besides maybe Vancouver, there really isn't a team like a city with a Big Four team that would make sense with a polar bear as a mascot.
Yeah, so it's kind of a.
Besides maybe Vancouver and probably even Edmonton, but Edmonton are the Oilers, so that doesn't really make sense.
They're north, but it really doesn't make sense. So
the only other scenario would probably be a team in Alaska using that, and that makes a lot more sense because there are a lot more
sense.
Yeah,
I would get that, but there's no Alaskan teams, no Anchorage, whatevers. So
the only and this is going to sound weird, but there is one team in the U.S. that would actually work with a polar bear, and that's because their logo is literally a polar bear. It would be the Orlando Solar Bears, which is an ECHL team. They're the only team in the U.S. that makes sense because their logo is actually a polar bear.
It's a polar bear chilling with a sun and a hockey stick and sunglasses. It's amazing.
The ECHL has some weird teams.
They're just like minor league baseball.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're gonna get, but they're amazing.
Exactly. Oh, and the Checkers. How could we forget the Checkers?
Oh yeah, the Charlotte Checkers. That's
in the AHL. But with that being said, let's get into our honorable mentions. Yours.
We'll go with me first?
Yeah, I went first last time, I think.
Yeah, we can do that then. My first honorable mention, I'm going with Slapshot from the Washington Capitals.
I didn't include him. I didn't really think about him that much. I
was looking through what there was to offer out there. And this one, it didn't stick out to me of that one's amazing and need to be in my list. But I was like, I kind of like that. It grew on me as I started looking at it more.
Yeah.
And this is one, I think it looks cool. And plus he switches up the jersey for whatever they're wearing that night.
Yeah.
And which I think is pretty cool. Instead of just wearing, the same typical uniform over and over and over. It's a mixture. So
yeah.
And plus it's a bald eagle. It makes sense with the Capitals. So.
Yep, you're right. I didn't think about that, to be honest. I didn't really think about Slapshot like that. I kind of looked at him and I was like, I mean,
that's what I was at first, and I just kept looking, and it stuck out to me, but not too much.
There are a few other hockey ones. Speaking of which, my number 3 honorable mention on this list, Wild Wing from the Anaheim Mighty Ducks.
That's low.
I love Wild Wing. Now, it's low for a reason. The whole way that the Ducks came in was actually kind of fun through the whole Disney organization. Plus, you have the Mighty Ducks, one of the greatest hockey movies ever made.
Man, I think I have Wild Wing on my list.
Is he higher?
He's way higher.
Okay.
And I think he's one of the best logo. Why? It's the mask. Has to be.
That is true. I didn't think about it.
It makes like a duck bill.
Yeah.
And also the face of a duck while also being a hockey mask.
Yeah.
And it's just to me that's one of the coolest things. And plus the jersey. He has the jersey on, so team representation. Yeah. Wild Wing makes sense. Yeah. The name. So.
Yep, I guess that makes sense. That's my number 3, though. And I put him this low because I always remembered him growing up, but I also remember seeing a lot of clips of him. Have you ever seen this clip? It's of him skating. He jumps on a trampoline over some fire, trips, and falls into the fire, and he almost catches fire before his assistants help him up and get him out of the fire. It's really funny.
I have never seen that.
Look it up. It is one of the weirdest mascot. It's up there. It's up there, close to like that giant fight between the Ohio mascot versus the Ohio State Buckeyes fight. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for my second honorable mention, we're going to switch it to baseball now.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the sausages in the Milwaukee Brewers. I didn't want to put it on the list because it's multiple of them.
Yeah, I didn't really think of them like a mascot either. I thought of them as just their own thing. But I'm glad you mentioned them though.
They do the sausage race every game.
It's so much fun.
And like how we do with, what is it, the pig,
the pig and the chicken and the cow.
Chicken. Yeah. You know, so it's like similar, you know, it's like, you know what? I see them all the time when you watch, you know, Cubs Brewers, Cardinals Brewers, you know, us both being rivals with the Brewers. We see it a lot. So as one, I was like, you know what? That sticks out to me.
Here's what's weird. I never really considered the Brewers that big of a rival.
No, they're like the little brother.
Yes, exactly. They're like,
they do good every now and then, but they're definitely the little brother.
I think here's how I think about Cubs Cardinals. Here's how I think about Cubs, Cardinals, and Brewers. We're all kind of like siblings in that the Cardinals and the Cubs are kind of like twins and they hate each other.
Yeah.
And then there's the little brother, that's the Brewers. And then the adopted child, that's the White Sox.
And then if you want to continue with the Central Division, the Reds and the Pirates are just friends of the family.
Yeah, they're just friends of the family. No one else in the Central cares about them. I mean, I certainly don't.
What's your number 2 honorable mention?
But here's the only thing I'll say about the Pirates and the Reds. At least they're not the Astros.
That is true. Very true.
My number 2 honorable mention, I didn't put it on the list, and it wouldn't have made my list if it weren't for the fact that we're limiting to mascots that are actually associated with teams and not those that are only associated with a city. The San Diego Chicken.
Can you explain what that is?
So the San Diego Chicken is essentially, it was a mascot devised in the 70s by this guy who wanted to advocate for the city of San Diego, and he got such a cult following that he ended up, that despite the fact that he wasn't even connected in any way, shape, or form to any major sports franchise, he somehow made his way into the Mascot Hall of Fame.
I mean, hey, you got to respect it.
And plus, he was associated with a few teams for a little bit. He was associated with the city of San Diego overall, but he was associated with the Padres and with the Chargers for a little bit.
Okay.
And he is one of 3 mascots to get in a fight with Tommy Lasorda.
That doesn't surprise me.
He is, and we will get into this later. Tommy Lasorda is notorious for hating mascots. He is notorious for it. He reportedly basically cornered the San Diego Chicken, squeezed its neck until its eyes were bulging, and then basically threatened to basically
off the guy.
Yeah, off him if he stepped on any LA Dodgers hats.
Oh, well, hey.
And no, this is reported. I don't know if this is actually true. I haven't seen clips of this, but it's a very interesting thing that he has, and there are a few of these that are reported and we have seen. So it wouldn't surprise me that this is true.
Yeah, I can see it being true.
Exactly. It's something that Tommy Lasorda is definitely known for. He was definitely a curmudgeon, a little bit. Anyways, your number 1 honorable mention mascot.
My number 1, I have Edgar Allan and Poe.
See, I didn't include
for the
them.
Ravens.
I thought about that. It's very clever.
It is.
It's extremely clever.
Let's say, like, if you don't understand the reference,
Go ahead.
It's 3 birds. They're all ravens, and Edgar Allan Poe was the author of The Raven, the book, and it makes sense. They all look the same. They're like brothers, and so it works with the team name. And the look, they're okay. They kind of look goofy, so I didn't put them too high. And they're also 3, which I get it, but too many mascots can be annoying. But I understand ravens, they fly in a flock, so it makes sense at the end of the day. What is your number 1 honorable mention?
My number 1 honorable mention, it's the Coyote, the San Antonio Spurs mascot.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going with Howler from Arizona.
No. Oh, God, no.
Thank you. I'm glad we're in agreement on that.
No. Okay, first of all, Arizona should not have a hockey team. Sorry. We tried it. It didn't work. Move on, NHL. But unfortunately, they're getting their new stadium, so, you know, it's...
We'll see with that.
Anyways, the Coyote from the San Antonio Spurs. So the reason I have him on here is because he's notable for having some big instances of just going full ham with the mascot scenario. He's done a lot of stuff with getting involved with referees during like breaks and stuff. He even got ejected from a basketball game after getting into a physical altercation with one in 2005.
This thing scares me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's freaky. It's one of the most intimidating coyotes I've ever seen.
Like the eyes are crazy.
The eyes are crazy, and it's tall too, and it's lanky. It's very off-putting.
For real.
Which is weird because like you don't really think of a coyote when it comes to Spurs.
That's my thing with that one. So I'm glad you didn't put it on your list.
No, I didn't put. Yeah, that's why I didn't put it on the list. But it's gotten in a fight with a referee. Got ejected in 2005 in that fight with a referee. And not to mention, do you remember the bat incident?
No.
Okay. So back during the Spurs early 2000s dynasty, so the stadium that they played at, it played host to a few bats that ended up coming onto the court a couple times. Once they had to stop the game and get someone to corral it. The second time around, it came around, Manu Ginobili slapped it out of the air. He slapped the bat out of the air. It fell to the ground. It had like a broken wing or something. And security picked it up and basically just like took it outside and stuff. I don't know what happened to it to that bat afterwards. Anyways, like a couple weeks after this, the mascot comes out in a bat costume and is playing so much to it. And it's so funny.
That's clever. Makes sense.
It's very clever. But those are the honorable mentions for our lists. Do you want to start with number 10?
My number 10 is my only Chicago mascot. It's pretty low. It's going to be low for you. I know it is.
What is it?
Benny the Bull.
Okay, I was about to say, if it's not this mascot, then guess what? You made a mistake.
But yeah, we went with the right mascot. Rightfully
He's one of the funniest mascots ever.
He is, and he's kind of swaggy.
He's swaggy.
He's got the look. I don't know. The look is elite.
He's got the look. He's got the intimidation factor with the horns and the eyes and the red and the face.
Sense. Like everything makes sense with it. And I love that coherency.
He's on my list.
Mascots. I figured he'd be higher, so I don't want to go on too much.
Yeah, we won't go on too much on him. We'll talk about it when we get there. My number 10, Blue, the Indianapolis Colts mascot.
Okay, let him in.
And the reason I put him here is because of the fact that I felt like when I heard his name, I realized that I had to put him on this list. I put him on pretty late. And the reason I did is because of how much of a distraction he can be when teams are doing anything at the opposite and at the Colts end zone. Like when they're kicking a field goal, he will literally do the hula hoop thing, where he's like pushing on like what looks like his butt, but it's like a hula hoop, and it's just funny to see him do that, and it can be a distraction at times.
Mostly that's like a legit thing. Like, I'm surprised they haven't banned it or something. You know what I mean?
It reminds me kind of like, okay, so in the mid 60s, most of the rules for baseball had been figured out, but one of them was that there was this guy named I think his name was Ed Stanky, and his nickname was the Brat, I think, and he was notorious at one point during sometime in the mid 60s season, where he would basically place himself in the middle of the batter's eye, which is that big blank space out in the outfield so that batters can see the ball. And he was basically jumping up and down and making a whole bunch of faces and noises and stuff. And at the time, the umpires and the teams laughed it off. He continued to do that, and it eventually forced the MLB to swiftly make a rule that changed it. And so I feel like it's kind of like this, but in the NFL.
Yeah. Let's say that might come into effect eventually. So.
Yeah. Anyways, number 9 for you.
My number 9, I have one. Might be controversial. I don't know if you have this at all.
No, go ahead.
The Pittsburgh Pirates mascot, Pirate Parrot.
He didn't make my mascot, and that's because I don't like the Pirates.
That's understandable. I totally get that.
I've said before, what my opinion on the Pirates is.
They're there?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it looks cool. I don't know. It makes sense. It's a parrot. They're the Pirates, so it's kind of like a play. To me, that's what a mascot should be. It should be a play on your team name or city name or whatever, and it's okay, but it's not outstanding. So
yeah. My number 9 is the oldest or at least approximately the oldest mascot in the NHL. And I have a lot of hockey mascots on here,
especially
just
towards the top.
I feel like hockey is very notorious for having a very good mascots.
They're
same with the MLB and same with the NBA.
They're great at advertising their mascots too.
They are really good at advertising their mascots. The NFL is easily the weakest on this list.
Some of them I didn't even know they had.
Easily the weakest on this list. I only have I think one or two. Yeah, two. I think
I had one and we already went past it.
Exactly.
So. What's your number 9?
Number 9 for me is Harvey the Hound. He is the mascot of the Calgary Flames.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I understand this one. I get it.
And the reason I have him this high is because of an incident he had back in the 90s, I believe. Or it was either the 90s or the 80s. And he was doing what mascots always do. He was annoying opponents' fans. He was doing what mascots are supposed to do. He wanders over and leans over the glass of the opponent's bench and basically starts barking at the opponent's coach. And the opponent's coach reached up, grabbed his tongue, which is flopping out there.
Excessively large tongue for no reason.
He has an excessively large tongue. The opposing coach grabs it, rips it out, twirls it around, and tosses it back up into the stands. This is a real incident. You can look it up. It's
absolutely amazing.
It is absolutely incredible. And it made TSN's, which is basically Canadian Sports Center, it made TSN's top 10 mascot moments of all time. It was number 1.
Crazy.
It was number 1 on that list. And so when you take that into account, plus he's the oldest mascot, and he's one of the most well-known mascots around, especially in Canada, around the entire league, you have to include him here.
Let's say he didn't make my list. That's because the excessively long tongue. I'm not gonna lie.
I love the excessively long tongue.
It creeps me out. It's weird.
How can you hate that? I love that. Well, okay.
My list.
First
is
of all,
weird, so.
he's a good dog though. No. Oh, come on.
Moving on to my number 8. My number 8.
Yep.
I think you should have this on your list. Mr. and Mrs. Met.
Same.
It's same spot. That's a great spot.
Exact same
to
spot.
me, that's where I figured it belongs.
Yep.
But just not crazy high.
Yeah, it's not crazy high, but it's also high enough where you're like, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see
cool.
Mets. This is probably the only good thing to come out of the Mets organization for the past decade.
Pretty much. Maybe except, Jacob deGrom's always injured.
Well, yeah, Jacob deGrom. Plus, they made the World Series in 2015, but no one remembers that one because they lost to the Royals.
That's crazy times.
W's for Kansas City.
But to say, Mr. and Mrs. Met, anything really to say about them though? Like they're baseballs with baseball uniforms.
Yeah, they're just baseballs wearing yeah.
I mean, it looks cool. And the Mets don't really have much to go off of, so hey.
Plus, I remember do you remember? I don't know if did you watch a lot of SportsCenter growing up?
It depended on the day.
Okay, so there was this sport. So this was back when Josh Hamilton was raking home runs in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and he basically was in a mask. He was in an ESPN SportsCenter commercial with Mr. Met. They were at the office, and Mr. Met was talking with conversating in mascot lingo. They don't talk, but with a coworker. And then when he walked in, and then Josh Hamilton walks in, puts something in the microwave, and Mr. Met looks at him, throws his water glass, which he was drinking out of, in the trash can and just walks away and storms away all mad. And then Josh Hamilton turns to the guy in the office and is like, "What's his problem?" And then the guy's like, "Okay, you remember the home run derby last year? Yeah. Well, a couple of those balls you hit were his cousins."
Oh. That works.
Yeah, and so, he's ubiquitous.
Let's say that's cool.
And he's also part of the reason why the Reds mascot, I don't even know what his name is. The Reds mascot didn't make the list because Mr. Red. He's the exact same thing. He's on your list?
It's the mustache.
That mustache is too distracting for me.
It's elite.
It's too distracting.
Let's go on to number 7.
Number 7.
My number 7, you're going to hate, but hey, I'll explain why it's on here.
Okay.
Fred Bird.
You told me it wasn't. You're kidding, right?
I just said okay. I did not say this is not on my list.
Dude,
I said Louis was not on my list.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Say why, and then I'll completely destroy your argument in one sentence.
It's not because the look. It's not because the name. it's during the COVID season, he gained my respect because he had so many stupid antics when there was no people in the crowd, and he still made the gimmick work. And I respect that so much. He did like just weird creative things throughout the field. Like he was painting one time, and then the painting was sitting there, and Harrison Bader hit the painting with a home run. Just saying.
That's not really due to him though. That's more due to.
Yeah, well, it's the goofiness of Fred Bird and like how it is.
Okay.
Plus, I'm also a Cardinal fan, so you got to remember this.
Okay. Well, this is the one sentence that will destroy your entire argument. He looks like what would happen if a 5th grader drew a cardinal.
No.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what he looks like. You want to see what a real cardinal mascot looks like?
No,
you want no.
They would add
Hold
black
on. You want to see what a real Cardinals mascot looks like? Look up the Arizona Cardinals mascot.
Oh, I like
that's a real Cardinals mascot, not Redbird or whatever his name is at the St. Louis Cardinals. That is not a Cardinal. That looks like what would happen if a 5-year-old tried to draw a Cardinal. He looks nothing like a real Cardinal.
Because it's supposed to be goofy. You know
oh my God, no.
And he even has the hat.
He looks stupid. His gimmicks aren't great.
They're pretty great.
No, they're not.
He does everything else.
Whatever. I think we'll just disagree on this one, I guess.
What's your 7?
My number 7. You're gonna like this one. Get ready for all you Flyers fans out there, because we're talking about Gritty.
I thought that would be your number 1.
No,
I'm gonna be honest.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Gritty. I love me some Gritty.
The crazy part is I hate Gritty.
He scares me, bro. He scares
weird.
people, which is so funny. And it's not something that you expect from a
He doesn't look right. There's something wrong with Gritty.
There is something wrong with Gritty.
Like, they literally had any idea they could come up with, being this is the most recent mascot.
Yeah.
Well, one of them. Yeah. And then they chose that. I'm sorry. That's terrible. The eyes, there's something wrong. I don't know. It's like he's on some type of drugs.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's like I can't. It matches Philly perfectly.
It does match Philly perfectly, though. That is true, because what's more Philly than just going ballistic with something that looks like he'll kill you in your sleep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it looks like. In fact, when he first debuted, there was a video caught of him slipping on the ice as he was carrying a can. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
And the Penguins official Twitter account basically reported out, looks like Gritty's having a hard time getting used to the ice. And then Gritty retweeted that, but he reposted it with a quote saying, "Sleep with one eye open, bird."
That's crazy. See, this is like it matches Philly so well, so I understand.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just funny.
Number 6.
He looks like what would happen if Brett Kavanaugh got a little bit too tipsy.
Lord. That's okay.
Anyways,
number 6. Moving on for me.
Yep.
I have a weird one. I don't think you'll agree, but it's the premise. Blades the Bruin from the Boston Bruins.
No. He's just a bear.
Yeah, but they're the Bruins. They're bears.
No, but he's just a bear, and
he's
so
a fierce-looking bear.
Basic looking.
He's a fierce-looking bear.
Not really.
No, he has a grin. He doesn't just look like a generic, I'm just a happy bear here for the kids. He looks like he could do some damage. And plus he wears the full uniform. Like, I respect this one.
What mascot doesn't wear the full uniform?
There's some that don't.
Name one.
Well, we just went over one.
No, you didn't.
Did we not?
Which
the Pirate
one?
Parrot. That one doesn't wear it.
No, yeah, he does.
He has a jersey. He doesn't count as a full uniform.
Wait, hold on. What are you counting as a full uniform? Are you counting?
I'm talking like
pants
he has
and everything.
Pants. He has the pants, and so he looks like he's part of the team.
The parrot has pants too.
Does he?
They all have pants. They're anamorphic. They're personified. They're personified. So of course they're gonna wear pants. It's not like they're going around pantsless.
Okay, he has hockey pants on. He has the shorts. You know what I'm talking about? Like he has like the full uniform, and he has the ice skates on the bottom of the.
I guess.
Which I respect. I don't know how anybody could do that. Like wear a mascot uniform and ice skate at the same. That's kind of tough.
Yeah, that does. Well,
just because wearing the mascot uniform is already tough.
That's tough enough. I used to. I mascotted one time during high school. It's tough. Fun. It's not fun.
So
I accidentally talked a couple times.
You're not supposed to talk.
Yeah, I know. It was. I was
saying like you're not supposed to. Like
you were. I was not supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
Number 6.
My number 6. Staley DeBurr.
Okay.
I love this
This is
mascot.
your Chicago bias.
This is
coming
not
out.
this. Okay, first of all, this is not my full Chicago bias coming out. You'll see later. But this, I could see why people think that this is a little bit, but here's why. His name is not just one callback, but 2 callbacks. Okay? The original Bears team was based in Decatur, known as the Decatur Staleys. So that's where the first name comes in. Then guess what? The Bears comes from an SNL skit, Bill Swirsky Super Fans. So the fact that they were able to take their mascot and turn him into and turn his name into a double homage is incredible. Not to mention the fact that I love the way he scoots his butt across the end zone at the end. It's just fun.
I'll give you this. He looks fierce.
He's way fiercer
look.
than Blades. He's way fiercer than Blades.
That's debatable.
He's definitely more realistic looking based off of like the fact that they actually give his fur texture.
Is that your only other bear? Or do you have another one coming, aka the Cubs?
No.
Okay,
No, I did not.
thank
No,
you,
I did
thank
not.
you.
No. Don't get me wrong. I like Clark, but he does not deserve to be on this list. He's only been around for like almost a decade.
He looks like he'd be the Sandlot's mascot.
I don't know about that.
He looks like he belongs in.
No, if anything, if Redbird looks like that. Fredbird. Sorry.
Redbird. He looks like what was the backyard baseball?
That I can see.
He looks like he belongs in
That I can see.
like just a bit.
That I can totally see. I'm not, and I don't think that's actually a knock. I just think
it's just like
I
that's
just think
just
that's
what he-
just the way he looks.
It's just it's the way the hat and like
Yeah.
the little bit of hair. Yeah.
Number 5 for you.
My number 5, probably some would argue would be higher. The Philly Fanatic.
Oh my God, dude! This is
What?
bruh. This is
Is it too low?
bruh. This
Too
is
low?
way too low.
Okay, so
This is arguably the greatest mascot of all time.
I'll give him this. He's kind of goofy. That's why I don't really love it. But he's the only
And he's higher on my list.
he's the only mascot that's ever been on a spring training hat,
That's true.
which is even crazier in my opinion that the Phillies would do that.
I didn't
But
think about that. I didn't even take that into account. He's just hilarious.
I just
The way he pops his like little thing out of the little
the
snoot he
tongue
has.
or
Yeah, the
whatever.
tongue thing that he has. That's just funny.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Although I'm okay. Do you have any more baseball on your list?
I should have switched them, but yes, I have one more.
Okay. If it's the
I
one,
should have switched them.
if it's the one I'm thinking of, then you have made a grave mistake bringing him on this list.
I don't know who you'd be thinking of.
I know who I'm thinking of. We'll figure it out once we get there.
It's the next one.
Oh, it's the next one. Okay.
It should have been switched. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, and he's also another mascot that's gotten in a fight with Tommy Lasorda. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
He's higher up on my list. Number 5 for me, and the reason he makes this is because he also had a run-in with Tommy Lasorda, and this is the only mascot that was able to jump leagues. This is the only mascot that has been in both the MLB and the NHL, and he represents arguably one of the greatest cities in not just Canada but the world. Youppi.
I hate that thing.
How can you hate him?
It's weird looking.
How can you hate
it's
him?
It's another one that looks weird.
How can you hate him? Besides, have you seen his? Oh wait, he has a. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but there used to be another mascot for him, the area named Suki. Look him up. That thing looks
just as bad, if not worse.
No, he looks worse. He just is worse. Look up Suki right now and tell me that he does not look worse. So this is, I think, the most notable of the Tommy Lasorda situations because he pissed off Tommy Lasorda so much that he actually got that Tommy Lasorda asked the umpire to eject him from a baseball game, and he did it. Did you just look him up?
No, I couldn't find it. You'll show me later.
Look up on images. He's somewhere. You'll know him when you see him. He looks like what would happen if you left Mr. Matt in a Bacta tank for too long.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. He looks like Suki looks like that. And anyways, so here's the whole thing, and this is one of the weirdest baseball games I've ever seen. So
why is he built like that? Hold on.
Suki?
Yes.
Oh,
Why is
I know.
Neck
his neck's like really long. He's like very he's like a what's that one thing?
The
inflatable arm flailing tube man. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and
that's weird.
So if you think Youpie's weird,
and then it has that like
that's
a creepy
really
smile.
Exactly.
My knock on Youpie is like, I don't know, just looks kind of goofy. He like wants to be a guy, but also he's also half gritty.
He's not half gritty. No.
He's all orange.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's half gritty.
he's like half man, half gritty.
No, he's not.
Then he just wears a random Montreal Canadiens hat.
What are you talking? He's a Canadiens mascot.
Yeah, I know, but like it just looks kind of goofy because they don't wear hats in hockey.
What? There are baseball hats for every sport.
I guess it was.
There are baseball hats for every sport.
It used to be baseball, so I guess that's where the crossover. They kept that.
Exactly, and it's not even exclusive to. And baseball hats aren't exclusive to baseball anymore.
Well, no, but like I don't know. I feel like hats are really they're baseball inspired.
You're just being a hater.
I
Anyways,
am.
so Youpie basically he annoyed Tommy Lasorda so much, and he eventually got a giant nightgown, one of those droopy hats from like cartoons when like characters.
This.
Yep,
I remember
he got
this.
a pillow and he went on and he stood on top of the Dodgers dugout in Memorial Stadium in Montreal. Yep. And he in Olympic Stadium, sorry, not a Memorial Stadium. And he basically laid down, went to sleep. Tommy Lasorda pokes his head up. You see him point to the umpires and say, "I want him out." And you just see the umpire go, "You're out, bud." and then you just see this most dejected, sad Youpie, which is ironic because Youpie. But anyways, you see him just slide off the dugout and just take the saddest little walk up the steps as he goes back to the locker room, and it's just so sad, and yet so funny.
It's crazy. Like Tommy Lasorda kind of put it on himself. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Anyways, your number 4.
My number 4. It should have been switched to 5, maybe even a little lower behind Blades. Mr. Redlegs.
Okay,
Cincinnati.
Thank God. Okay.
Who were you thinking of?
I was thinking of Orbit.
Oh, that thing looks so stupid. No.
Okay, good. Well, I have problems with him for other reasons.
That thing looks so goofy.
And I know that this is less about the mascot and more about the team, but you know how I feel about the Astros.
Yeah, the Trash Stros.
You know what? No, the Asterisk Stros. Or, damn it,
The Trash Stros is a good one.
The Trash Stros is better. Yeah.
So, Mr.
The Houston Asterisks.
So, Mr. Redleg apparently has a family.
That's
kind of weird. But the reason I like him is because it used to be the actual Reds logo.
Yeah.
And so it kind of works. And it does look goofy, but I love the mustache and the old-timey. It screams baseball. The old-timey look.
I feel like the mustache is too much.
And he even has like the pillbox hat with the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say like it's like the flat top and then it has the stripes through it.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about. So I love the mustache though. So yeah, you think it's goofy. I love it.
I think it's goofy and I think it distracts from, I don't know. We're talking about mascots here though, so.
It's a goofy concept and subject in general, so that's why I like the goofiness.
Number 4 for me, the S.J. Sharkey for the San Jose Sharks.
It's a good one. I didn't include it, but that's a really good one.
Yeah, and the reason I included him here was because of the time that he got stuck rappelling down. So he got stuck rappelling down during a Red Wings Sharks game, and they couldn't get him down for 30 minutes, and it delayed the start of the hockey game. It's one of the funny things because you see him sitting up there, and he's just like
doesn't know what to do.
He's like, somebody help me, but without saying it. And I think someone had to go out on a girder and pull him up or something.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Imagine that happened to Truman.
Oh,
that would be scary.
That would be really scary. But I mean, and plus he's intimidating.
It's a shark.
It's easy to make a shark intimidating.
But it does look good. It's one of the better ones for sure.
He is definitely a better hockey mascot than a lot. He's my final hockey mascot, actually.
Really? My top 3 are hockey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. My number 3, you want to start there?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with Stinger for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
No,
you don't love it? That's
I
okay.
don't.
I understand. I didn't like it at first because it was like, what is this green thing for Columbus? That doesn't make any sense.
Here's my thing. He's just too lime green.
It is too lime green. I'll give you that.
He's just too lime green.
But when you think about the name, it's,
the name's
like
cool. The name is
blue
cool.
jackets. So it's a blue jacket.
Yeah.
Yellow jacket.
Yeah.
And it's blue and yellow mixed makes green.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool, and plus it's like one of the more notable ones.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, here's why I'm not. Here's another reason why I don't have him. They had a better mascot. They had a cannon. Do you remember that? There used to be an inflatable cannon that they use as their mascot.
I don't remember the cannon mascot. I know they have the cannon in the arena that they shoot off on goals.
They used to have an inflatable cannon mascot, and then they got rid of him for some reason, even though he was freaking awesome.
I was. It could go either way. I like the Columbus's branding is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like Columbus's branding could actually be a little bit better.
Their team is not good. That's what brings them down. The team is bad.
Plus, what the heck is a blue jacket, anyways?
A northerner from the Civil War. That's what their alternate jersey.
Oh,
Have you seen that one? It has like.
Well, then why don't they make like a?
It's essentially like
they
a
can
Yankee.
Hold on. Here's what they should do. They should make a Pat Patriot, like something like Pat Patriot, but as a Union soldier.
That's what I'm saying. It would look cool if they did something like that. Yeah. But I get the play on words. You know.
I get that too.
And also I love jersey concepts, and this one's used a lot in them, so it's kind of like interesting.
Number 3 for me is Rocky, the Denver Nuggets mascot.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
How did you forget about Rocky?
No, dude, I even looked at it and was like, I got to put that on my list, but there was another one I had to go do it before. And
he's the greatest mascot dunker of all time.
He also looks so cool.
I mean, I could see it. I'm less about the way he looks and more about what he does. He's the greatest halftime dunker of the entire NBA. Now, granted, his off the court stuff isn't that notable. I mean, he is pretty good at like the popcorn gag and stuff. But most of the stuff for me is on court. But go ahead.
If I'm gonna knock him for anything, it's that he's a dinosaur, and it's like, why is there a dinosaur for the Rockies? But hey,
he's not a dinosaur. He's like a mountain lion.
No, I thought he was a dinosaur.
He's a mountain lion.
There's no way. Dinger? Who did you say?
I'm talking about Rocky, the Denver Nuggets mascot.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dinger.
No.
Why did I get that? You said Denver.
I said Rocky.
I got that confused with the Rockies. That's what it is. I was like, what?
No, he is the Denver Nuggets mascot. He's the greatest dunker of all time. Out on the court, just going from he is insanely good at what he does.
Why is he so built?
He is really built too, which is like really funny.
The tracksuit does look good though. I'll give you that.
I thought about Dinger. He's just too weird. He's too polka dotty and he's too purple.
I like Dinger. It's just weird. Why is he a dinosaur?
Why is he a dinosaur, number one? And number 2, why is he so purple with polka dots everywhere?
It's a good question.
Although I think it's no question what's the worst mascot to ever, looking in the entire thing. The Indians mask. Well, Guardians mask.
Now? Yeah.
Look him up.
That thing looks dumb. I don't get it.
So bad, and I don't get it.
Well, let's move on to my number 2.
Yep.
I have one. It was your honorable mention, Wild Wing.
Okay.
And we talked about that.
I think way too high.
That's okay. I love it. And I think Wild Wing is one of those ones that, it sticks around.
Yeah.
And that's the only good thing about Anaheim. And also,
I don't know about the only good thing about Anaheim.
They need to rebrand bad.
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Trevor Zegras is there. But
I think it's less about the rebrand and more about, I think it's less about the brand and more about just what they're doing as an organization.
They don't have a direction.
They don't have direction.
They're stuck in 2006.
Exactly. It's less about branding and more about getting out of the 2000s. We're in the 2020s. You're 2 decades later, dudes. Figure it out.
Let's get the show on the road here. Come on, Anaheim.
To be fair, they did make the Western Conference Finals a couple times in the 2010s, but Bruce Boudreau just choked on that sweet barbecue every time they got to Game 7.
That's crazy.
He did.
Also, Wild Wing is one of the only mascot ever on a jersey.
Yeah, that's true. That flying.
Yeah. I have the reverse retro version of that jersey, so is another reason I like it a little more.
That logo is also very meta because he's wearing the jersey while he's the logo on the jersey.
Literally, it's kind of a crazy concept.
Yeah.
And then the reverse retro one is white, and he's coming out of water, but there's still ice pieces, so it's kind of weird, but
yeah. Number 2 for me. You mentioned him earlier, and you mentioned him earlier,
okay.
and he is the last baseball mascot for me, and he has the best. Well, not the best, but he is. I would think one of the, if not arguably the best mascot ever. But my hometown bias got me a little bit too much on number 1. Philly Fanatic.
That's respectable. That's who I thought you were going to go with number 1.
Yeah, Okay, so his incident with Tommy Lasorda is insane because he made a blow up doll of Tommy Lasorda, beat it up in front of Tommy Lasorda, and then rode his ATV in circles around Tommy Lasorda, while basically annoying Tommy Lasorda, basically to the point where Tommy Lasorda would end up grabbing a baseball, throwing it, and so you see there's film of this. You see the Fanatic driving around, and then out of nowhere, off camera, you see a baseball hit him smack in the face. He flies off, and I assume the former pitcher Tommy Lasorda throws it.
Yeah, but pretty implied.
And anyways, Tommy Lasorda then goes up, grabs the inflatable doll, and hits the Fanatic a couple times over the head with it. It's so weird.
It's just crazy. The Tommy Lasorda mascot lore is actually hilarious.
It's really funny. But yeah, I mean, I can't get enough of the Philly Fanatic. Plus, like, the Phillies are just they're a baseball organization that will be around forever.
Yeah, that is true. They're just always going to stick around. They will never go away.
The Astros, I hope, leave, but you never know.
They won't leave. They got too big of a fan base now.
No, they don't.
Well, not fan base, but
no. If anything, they have a diminished fan base.
But Houston's such a big city.
That's the only thing that's keeping them alive.
Yeah,
it's the fact. Here's the one thing that the whole scandal did. It galvanized the entire city against everyone else. That's the one thing it did.
If they were Kansas City,
correct,
and like had their market, their market, they would be out.
Oh yeah, easy.
I think they would.
They should. Here's the problem that I have with all of that. You're not distributing the punishments enough. They should take away that trophy. They should take away the rings, and they should essentially like the fact that the White Sox got that 8 White Sox, including shoeless Joe Jackson, one of the greatest outfielders of all time, got banned for life and is still not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. But these guys can cheat with technology, keep the trophy, and keep the rings.
Yeah, kind of ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I about to say it's a crazy situation. I don't even understand.
It's like it's such a double standard.
And they found they were cheating again.
Exactly.
I don't get
what does it take to what does it take for the MLB to actually punish?
What's your feeling on the Red Sox then?
See, I'm less so about the Red Sox
because it wasn't as much.
It wasn't as much, and it's not okay. It wasn't as deeply rooted in the organization. It mainly came from the general manager down instead. It came from the manager down instead of the GM down.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So, anyways. That's my whole diatribe. And sorry, Houston, I don't care. You can yell at me all you want. I don't care. Like, your team should not be in the MLB. Shouldn't be a thing anymore. Sorry. Not sorry. But number 1 for you.
My number 1 isn't gonna make your list, and I'm fine with that. I have NJ Devil, the New Jersey Devils mascot.
Ugh. Okay,
I love
this. Okay, I thought about maybe putting him here, but my vitriol for the Devils as an organization. Ugh.
You don't like the Devils?
No, I hate them.
I love the Devils. That's my second team. But like
that's your second. No wonder we have so much disagreement. You know who my 1 and 2 are?
Mine are Blues and then Toronto/New Jersey.
You want to know who my 1 and 2 are?
Chicago
and Rangers.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. Now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I love the Devils. It's always been like my team since I was like.
Why?
My uncle. He was a big Devils fan. Because of Martin Brodeur, and that's my favorite player of all time. Martin Brodeur.
Okay,
so it's a little.
That's the only. I'm not even kidding. That might be the only Devils player that I actually respect.
Like I could name like that whole 2006-07 team. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Anyways, mine.
The mustache, so cool.
I mean, yeah, the Devil's pretty cool.
It looks good. Makes sense.
Plus, there was that one really funny SportsCenter advertisement where basically he's in the elevator, and then one of the anchors for SportsCenter walks in. He's like going up, and then the mascot, and then the Devil goes. And then the sportscaster is like, okay, nope, I'm good. And he walks out. It's just funny.
They did well with those.
Yeah. Plus, did you see that one video of him basically running out of a My Gym into a window and it crashing?
No.
Have you seen that? I'll show you. It's hilarious.
Okay.
My number one.
I think we already know.
I think you probably know based off of what I said at number 2. Benny the Bull.
Yeah, I understand him. I can see why you went there.
I put him. I think that you should have put him a little bit higher than 10, given how funny, given not just how much he does on the court, but how much he does off the court as well. He does everything. He does pie jokes. He does popcorn jokes. He does giving a small bear to try and woo a lady, and then when she rejects him, give her a larger bear. Then when she rejects him again, give her an even larger bear. Then when she rejects him again, give her the largest bear in Chicago. Boom.
I was, I see where you're going. It's the bias. The hometown bias came in.
I don't think that's hometown bias. I think
I do.
His on-court antics are just as funny as his off-court. Plus, he's intimidating. He does everything that a mascot should be. Plus, does everything else almost perfectly. Like, he's almost ubiquitous with the entire city of Chicago as well. When you see him, you think Chicago.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
Was he in the 90s?
Putting him at number 1 is definitely hometown bias. I'm not saying that it's not, but he's definitely higher than 10.
You see that man's eyebrows though?
Yeah, but I mean, look at me. I have like. Look at me.
No, you don't have like this thick eyebrow.
Oh,
it's just one continuous eyebrow.
Dude, okay. Do you see this in the middle? I've ever since I was a teenager, I've had a unibrow, dude, I get it, and I get it removed, but I don't know. I don't feel like you should hold that against him.
I feel like the best part about him is like the randomness of the hair.
Yeah.
And then just like when he has the chain and the glasses, he can pull off the look.
I get that. So, you want to go top down with your list? We'll recap, and then we'll see what is in store for us next week.
Yep. So for my honorable mentions, I had Slapshot from the Capitals.
Nice.
The Sausages from the Brewers.
Nice.
Edgar Allan and Poe from the Ravens.
Nice.
Then Benny the Bull, Pirate Parrot, Mr. and Mrs. Met, Fredbird, Blades from the Bruin, the Philly Fanatic, Mr. Redlegs. Switch those two actually. So we'll go Mr. Redlegs, then Philly Fanatic, then Stinger, Wild Wing, and NJ Devil.
And my list from bottom up is going to be Wild Wing, San Diego Chicken, the Coyote from the San Antonio Spurs, Blue from the Indianapolis Colts, Harvey the Hound from the Calgary Flames, Mr. and Mrs. Met, Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers, Staley the Bear from the Bears, Youpie from the Montreal Canadiens /Expos, S.J. Sharkey from the San Jose Sharks, Rocky from the Denver Nuggets, Philly Fanatic from the Philadelphia Phillies, and number 1, Benny the Bull from the Chicago Bulls. That is going to do us for here at the Top 10 show. What do you want to do next week? Because
are you wanting to do the college?
I'm thinking maybe we actually do superpowers next week. I don't know why.
Ooh, that'll be a fun one.
I feel like doing superpowers. So next week we're going to do top 10 superpowers of all time. Tune in next week from 3 to 4 for next week's Top 10 on the Top 10 Superpowers. This has been the Top 10 Show here on KCOU 88.1, the voice of the Missouri Tigers. Thank you for listening. You can always catch this show once again on Spotify at the Top 10 Show. Thank you for listening.